right? So there's my formula. It's not in standard form. We're going to rewrite it into standard form. It's set equal to 0. Beautiful. Now grab A, B, C. A is 8, B is -6, C is +3, correct? Okay, here we're going to get rejected on the calculator. So let's write it all out, because we're going to end up having to solve it by hand anyways. Right. Okay, my A value is +8, correct? So wherever you see an A, put an 8, right? Okay, wherever you see B is -6, so wherever you see a B, substitute -6. And wherever you see C, plug in a 3, positive. Yes? Okay, that is the correct substitution. You're now going to throw it in the calculator, and we're going to get rejected. And I will show you why, because we'll have to solve it by hand, and then I'll show you. Okay, fraction. Whoops, that's not a fraction. Minus -6 plus rad, right? Oh, I forgot my little 6. I know, because I'm looking at them. They keep playing. -6 squared, subtraction 4, 8, 3, 2, 8. Okay, so you plug it all in. Again. And you get rejected. And it is totally correct that we're getting rejected. This calculator has boundaries, and one of those boundaries is this. What's the square root of 4? 2. And see how I get a 2? It looks pretty. But what's the square root of -4? Error. What's the square root of 9? Whoopsie. What's the square root of 9? 3. What is the square root of -9? Rejection. The calculator will not give you the square root of an imaginary number. Negative radicals are imaginary. And so that's why the calculator is rejecting us. So we have to solve it by hand. Okay, so, and you'll see the negative in like 2 steps. Okay, so here we go. If we're going to solve it by hand, what is -6? +6 plus or minus square root. What is -6 squared? Squared. Huh? 36. You guys, -6 squared is -6 times -6. What is a negative times a negative? A positive. Positive 36. Whenever you square here, that number should always, 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 always be positive. If it's negative, you're going to get a trash answer. Negative squared is always positive. Okay? Okay, now what's -4 times 8 times 3? So what is 4 times 8 times 3? -96, right? And then what is 2 times 8? 16. Okay, so now 6 plus or minus. What is 36 minus 96? 36 minus 96? -60. And this is where our rejection is coming from. That is a negative radicand. You cannot put that in the calculator. What is rad -60? Rejection. So if you're 100% sure you're doing this correctly and you're getting rejected on the calculator, it's because there's a negative in there. Okay, so how do you take care of it? Okay, here's what you're now getting. An imaginary number. All right, so here's what it is. The square root of -1 is I, okay? So that little I is what you're going to start using. Okay, so COVID with middle school. So we'll see what you guys know. Okay, do you guys remember? So this is kind of on the side. Okay, you guys know 12 is 3 times 4, right? 10 is 2 times 5, correct? Okay, so the same thinking can be applied to radical 12. Radical 12 is rad 3 times rad 4. Because they're both radicands. They're both numbers contained in a radical, so they can get 3 times 4 is 12, and you can maintain the radical. So same thing. Rad 2 and rad 5 is rad 10. Does that make sense? Okay, this was middle school math. So if you guys have rad -60, and you know rad -1 is an I, you can say rad -1 times rad 60 is equivalent to radical -60. Yeah? So manipulate it. Take out the rad. Emilio. Omar. Okay? So this then becomes I. And so this is equivalent to I rad 60. Yeah? You pull the negative out so you can move forward with the calculator. Okay, so if you were to give me this answer, 6 plus or minus I rad 60 all over 16, you would get full credit. However, if you wanted to continue forward, if you wanted to put rad 60 in the calculator and say, well, let's go to a decimal. Rad 60 is 7.7. So if you're like, I want to do more, 6 plus or minus 7.7i over 16, and then you can separate it. 6 over 16, 7.7i over 16, and so then your absolute complete complex number is, this is like what honors, they have to do this, 0.4 plus or minus 0.5i, and so this is what they call an a plus bi form, and this is a complex number. Okay, if you're looking at SATs, honors, classes, but for here, if you just merely take this negative, oh my God, I can't align it, and give me that I, you'll get the full credit. Yeah? But that's when you get rejected. Yeah. Just carry on. Yeah. Okay, it's kind of a long video, so let me cut it and then it'll come back up again.